Hi, Robin with Oxy-Dry, and it's Sunday, getting my van ready for the week ahead. It's been raining a lot here, and we're putting up with that. It's a not unusual June, and as you see, I've got some equipment sitting here, and I thought I'd just, this is really directed toward maybe anyone who's looking at getting into low moisture carpet cleaning and are wondering, well, which system should I go with? And I just want to talk about a couple of things about that. And actually, I forgot to bring one thing over here. And I just wanted to give some suggestions and just share with you, you guys, things that I've learned over the years. I've actually been carpet cleaning since over 40 years, and I started out using with my dad back in the 70s, mid 70s, helping him obviously because I was pretty young then, with the Von Schroeder dry foam extraction system, which oh boy, I could tell you interesting stories about that system, but sure glad I'm not using that now. I actually did buy one of those machines maybe about 10 years ago and gave it another try, and oh man, what a boat anchor. The upholstery machine is fantastic, but the carpet machine is an awful thing. But that's not what the purpose of this video is. I also use the host system, CRB system, used that for years. I started a company in Victoria in 1986 using that system. We thought we were really onto something great and fantastic. Thought, wow, this is amazing, so dry, and we actually did very well for a little while there, but actually ran into all kinds of problems, and with the way the system cleaned, it had definitely have limitations, and we ran into situations where carpets were being damaged by the tip blooming, because CRB machines can do that. Certain carpets, it will do that too. That's a simple fact. I've been seeing it recently in my area because there was an Oxy-Fresh franchise that arrived 3 or 4 years ago, and all of a sudden I began seeing carpets they'd cleaned all over the place that had been damaged by them. Thankfully, they've gone. We're able to maintain their business model here, which wasn't a surprise. Anyway, I've done steam cleaning, both hot water, both truck mount and portable, and then about 25 years ago, I started Oxy-Dry using a rotary system. My first machine was actually a Clark 13-inch, or no, 13-inch Clark rotary, FM13, and I think I paid like $200 for it or something like that, and I used that thing for a few years. Had a tank on it, did shower feed. I started at $15 a room in a small town of about 30,000 people. Within a year, in my first year in business, I did about $100,000, believe it or not. And my marketing was completely anti-steam cleaning, because if you got a low moisture method, that's what you really actually need to do, is just market against the #1 method that's out there being used, and the people will come. If you build it, they will come. Because there's a lot of people that are very unhappy with the hot water extraction, with the dry time and the rapid resoiling, stains coming back, because, I mean, most guys actually don't do it correctly. We know that. I mean, very few of them will pre-vacuum the carpet, and that's the first and most important rule, especially of steam cleaning. But anyway, that's a whole other story. And anyway, 25 years ago, I started with the Oxy-Dry system. I had an idea of what I wanted to use. I considered all the options out there when I started I was actually invited to by a carpet store manager to get back into carpet cleaning, because I'd been doing carpet cleaning and then I did a segue out of it for about 3 years or so. I was thinking I was never going to go back to carpet cleaning, and he bumped into me one day and said, if you start up a new carpet cleaning business, I'll send work your way. And I was wanting to have a second income stream and thought, okay, well, maybe I will. And then the idea for Oxy-Dry was born, and I decided that I wanted something that would be simple, effective, and inexpensive to get into, inexpensive to operate. And I thought, well, nothing's more easier to operate on a carpet than a rotary machine. Can it actually be used as a standalone day-by-day carpet cleaning method? And that was my decision way back then. And I've never regretted it at all. The system has evolved over the years. My first machine was a 13. I actually have had various sizes of machines. I had a 15-inch for a while there, which was a nice machine. And then I actually went to I guess it was a 20-inch 2-speed. That was a nice machine, but too darn heavy. And a little bit too bulky for in-homes. And I did determine, after trying out a few different sizes, that the best overall machine size to use would be 17-inch, which is what this is right here. And I think I've pretty much perfected the best, most simple, efficient way of operating. I've mostly operated by myself over the years. I've had a helper a couple of times. The last one I just actually fired him about 6 months ago. Had him about 3 years. But the reality is that you can do this all day long by yourself. I typically, if it's in the busier season, I have no problem doing 4 jobs a day. I'm not slacking off, but I can do 4. I'm talking about a living room, dining room, hall, and a couple of bedrooms, maybe a set of stairs every second or third job. And I can do that all day long, 4 jobs a day. No problem. But about the way you do this is about efficiency and keeping it simple, and don't overthinking what we're doing. We're trying to get the carpet clean. We're not laying carpet. But the reality is that if you want to be into this business and you want to get into it as simply and easily as possible, with not spending too much money, then there is a way to do that. And actually, I've got to grab something here because I wanted to show you something else. Pardon me for that little segue. I wanted to address a couple of points here about your options for vacuums. So we'll talk about, before I get to the vacuum, let's talk about the main machine that we would use. And that would be, of course, either a rotary, assuming you're going to go with a pad system, as opposed to, say, a CRB, which I definitely don't recommend. But some guys like them. I definitely don't, as I mentioned earlier, for a good reason why. Anyway, so here we have 3 different machines. And this is the machine, although this is the machine I use. I actually have 4 of these. This is my backup to my backup. So it's actually never even gone on the road yet, but nevertheless, it's a brand new MD180, imported by Mastercraft, made by CleanFix. The new model is called the R44-180, imported by Mastercraft, made by CleanFix. This is the best rotary you can use for soil extraction transfer technology, or bonnet cleaning. The SETT method is what we use, and this is the best machine for it. And I'll get back to that in a sec. This is probably, I don't know if it's the most popular orbital machine out there. It certainly is one of the most, as you probably, most of you guys recognize. This is the Orbot. I bought this about 10 years ago. I almost never use it. I did use it quite a bit for a while there. I really wanted to see its advantages and disadvantages, and I didn't find any advantage to it at all, but I did find quite a number of disadvantages. And I actually also own this machine here, which is actually an Orbitec, wheels up Orbitec. I'm not even sure if Orbitec makes this particular machine anymore. They make the wheels down version of it. Maybe you can order it, I don't know. But this is basically the same thing, the same machine, almost identical to a machine that is currently being made as a wheels up machine, which would be the Challenger. So it's exactly the same orbit and almost the same design. It has the handle release stake down here, and it's a nice machine. And I use this. I used to use the 15-inch version of it. That's the 17. And I tried that out for a while. I wanted to determine what was the best system. Rotary, wheels down orbital, wheels up orbital. And this machine absolutely dominates for lots of reasons. Now, this particular machine is identical to the R44-180, except it has the large wheels on it. Now, those wheels I put on there, and if you go on my channel and you look through my videos, you'll find the video where I show exactly how I put those wheels on there. And that can be done to either this machine or to any other machine out there. You just have to make the bracket a little bit to match whatever machine you've got. But it can be done. It's very easy, very inexpensive. And 10-inch wheels, it'll bump up and down stairs. So what makes that such a wonderful machine? Number one, it's 70 pounds. And that's the ideal weight. It's got enough weight to do the cleaning, but it's not a backbreaker when you're going up and down stairs with it. You can bump it up and down the stairs with the wheels, no problem. It's just the right weight. It has the handle release right there. That's a very, very handy setup. This is the tank that it comes with. So get the tank. You want to shower feed with this machine, and although it is shower feed, it's actually center feed. You see the solution goes into the center and it feeds down through the center, and rather than shower feeding onto the, in most machines when they shower feed, they drop the solution onto the top of the dry block and it spins out from there. That's fine, it'll work, not a problem. But the center feed is a little more precise, and it's just a nice feature. And of course, this is the brush for the machine. I recommend getting the brush. This is a soft brush. I use this almost always on wool area rugs, and maybe some of the really thick yarn carpets is where I would use it. And so it's great to have that. Very well-made machine, the Swiss quality. I mean, it's very well-made machine. You're going to pay a little bit more money for this than you might pay for some machines. I've seen them, rotaries, 17-inch rotaries for $600 or $700. That's fine. It won't have the center, it won't have the handle release up the top, and it won't have the center feed, but it'll still work. The point is that you can still clean the carpet exactly the same way. There's just some refinement to this machine. And one of the things that is to beware of is this machine is only 9 amps. I virtually never will trip a breaker unless there's a bunch of lights on the same circuit. Then anything would trip the breaker, even a vacuum in that case. But most machines are usually 12 or 13 amps, some are even 15 amps, and even more in some cases. And you have to be aware of that when you're choosing a machine, and be aware that most rotary machines are about 98 pounds. So this machine is considerably lighter. Even with water in that tank, I've put 2 gallons in there, it's basically about 100 pounds. So I can go up and down stairs with a full tank easily. So that's another reason why that's a great machine. It's a belt drive, off-center motor, so it's just beautifully balanced and maneuverable. So that's why I choose it. And I tried a few different machines over the years. The Orbot, pardon me. The problem with the Orbot is it's not faster, it doesn't clean better, and it costs you more. It just does. There's a lot more, action going on in the vibration, and there's issues over time where these machines do have orbital machines are, well, they can kind of fall apart. You've got to keep tightening things up. And because the handle is so long, you actually have to, in my van anyway, I have to fold this handle down. Fortunately, it does that. You have to fold it down in order to put it in the van because it's too tall. And that makes it awkward and clumsy in crampy rooms. I mean, you can run it, put it upright or whatever, but in order to do that, you gotta grab this pin, pull it out, and move it up and down. I mean, it's all doable. I'm not saying you can't. And also, this machine will tip bloom certain carpets. And my machine, the rotaries, will not. I've never done it in 25 years. I know some say that they do, but they don't. This is another option. Now this would be the, when I say this, when I'm saying the Challenger is available. I think they're about $2,000 US dollars. I think the Orbot is around 4,000, and I believe this machine here is about 1,200. Yeah, anyway, you can still even get them rotaries for cheaper than that. But that's not really the issue. It's not really the price of the machine. It's about how well it works and how easily you can use it day by day. And bear in mind of a machine like this, here's the thing. In order to maneuver this machine, you have to push and pull with your arms all day long. And there is a individual that's got lots of videos using the Challenger machine. If you watch him on YouTube there, you'll see the effort that he has to push and pull that machine all day long. And I used this machine not too long ago, and it reminded me why I don't use it. And it takes a lot more physical energy all day long to push that back and forth. And I'm 60 years old now, and I'm beginning to realize that I'm not going to last forever. And I'm beginning to feel the effect of that much work all day long. Whereas with the rotary, it's the machine, it's powered itself. It just floats across the carpet. It's so easy to maneuver. And this would have the same tip blooming issue as this would, because it's got the exact same orbit. And when you run into certain types of carpets, like particularly the heavier lugged or lugged Berber style carpets, these orbital machines will act like a jackhammer. I remember one time I was using this in a house, and it's like I was hammering the carpet on this particular in this particular job, and the vibration that was coming up my arms, it was just incredible. And thankfully I had this still in the van with me, so I took this machine back out into the van, went and grabbed my rotary, and it was just night and day. Much easier physically. So that's, and as far as cleaning, this is superior. I guarantee you, when you learn how to use the rotary machine, and when you use the right attachments, which I'm going to get to in a sec, this will outclean that and that. No problem. There are, quite frankly, I'm just thinking right now, I can't remember any situation I've run across where I've thought to myself, boy, I wish I had my Orbital instead of my rotary for residential carpeting. Now, where this does have where these things are great is wide open areas, condo hallways. That's where they're perfect. That's what they're suited for. Absolutely. But you can still use this if you want to. This is just physically easier to use all day long in that case. But let's talk about the attachments. Normally when I'm cleaning, oh, okay, let's go on to, I'll come back to that, I think. Let's talk about the machines for, primarily for, if you're going to go into VLM cleaning, I would recommend, I'm recommending a rotary, a 17-inch. Don't have to get that particular machine. Anyone will work. Just be aware of the weight and the amperage, but ideally that's the one you want from Mastercraft USA. That's the best machine going. For steps and whatnot, this is what you want. These things are great. Now you can use these for, you can actually, there's guys that use these all day long for cleaning all the carpets they do. That's the Oric. They're not just a few $100s. They're Orbital, but they're light, they're easy to use, inexpensive, really well made, and they do steps really well in small areas or whatever. So that's what I recommend for that. So, well, maybe I better stick with the rotary for a minute. So, I'll get over to the vacuums in a sec. Normally when I'm cleaning, what I typically will do is I will usually run over the carpet first with a fiber pad. I've been using the white ones for quite a while, and I put the solution in here and I apply just enough to keep the carpet damp, and I scrub with a fiber pad, usually using a white one. So that's the white ones. It's safe on everything, no problem. Some guys prefer to use the red ones. They're a little bit more aggressive. No problem, you can use those. These, I guess they call these Aqua, and I guess they have hog's hair in them. These are from Bonnet Pro. But recently, I started using these. I would have never thought of using this because I thought this was too aggressive, but lately I have been using this on almost all my residential jobs, and boy, this cleans, and I'm not seeing any fiber damage at all. So I would certainly be careful. If you have any doubt or concern, then go back to the white fiber pad if it's a softer carpet. After I do that, then I run over the carpet with one of these. Now normally I will choose the Iron Man by Bonnet Pro. This is an excellent cotton pad, very absorbent. They last really a long time. I'm very impressed with those. I was using these microfiber scrub strips for a while. They do work well as well. They also work well. But the thing is that you can't really see the soil on these like you can on the cottons. You can really see how soiled the cotton gets quite quickly. So, but they work too. The two-ways are less absorbent, but certain carpets they work very well on. And I used these for years before I got to the Iron Man or the microfiber. But the Iron Man and the microfiber are more absorbent than these, but there are certain cases where this is a good choice. If I'm doing a carpet, say like a viscose rug, area rug, this is what I'm almost always going to use because they slide more easily on the carpet, less friction. These have the least friction, so that's where I would use that. I also have these, which I almost never use. I find these are just too what's the right word I'm looking for? Well, they are microfiber, but they don't have the scrub strips. So, but there's cases where I might use them. But I carry a couple of those along with me all the time. And that's basically it. So there's the rotary you need, and the pads you would need, and your stair machine, and of course you're going to need one of these when you're doing steps. You'll need to get one of these, a pressure sprayer. This one is battery powered, really cool. And I have a pump-up one as well. Either one will work fine. But these are really neat. They're not much more money than those ones, actually. So I recommend one of those. And that one is made by Field King. So there's my Obviously, that's my daily driver right there. So let's talk about the vacuum. Which vacuum should you use? Well, any one of these. Now, initially, years ago, I used to use, this is a Sanyo. This thing is about 18 or 19 years old. It's been my wife's house vacuum for a long time. Believe it or not, I bought it, I think, for her anniversary or something one year. Yes, I did. She actually was glad to have it because the vacuum she had was a piece of junk. She had it before we got married. Anyway, these vacuums work fine. They're not expensive, and one place you can find really good choice of vacuums is greatvacs.com. They have quite a number of different choices, Panasonic and Sanyo and other brands. They also sell reconditioned Kirbys. We'll get to the Kirby in a sec. The Shark is actually a really good vacuum. Now, the nice thing about the Shark is it has the can that you can, the clear can, and you can show your customer what you're picking up out of their carpet, and that always impresses them. So that's really something to consider. Of course, everybody thinks Dyson when they think of these bagless vacuums, but you're going to pay way more money for a Dyson, and you're not going to get a bit of vacuum. That particular vacuum there, the Shark Navigator, I think I only paid about $200 for it, and it actually was bought to replace this vacuum, which actually still works, but anyway. And it's a very nice vacuum, very really lots of suck, and it's easy to clean out. That's important. However, it's not going to have the durability like this will. This is actually a professional quality vacuum. This is the Pro Team. The nice thing about this is the pipe pops out. You can suck up the edges, get debris off the edges very quickly. So if you want to be speedy, this is a better choice, really, than all of these as far as speed goes. It's just a nice, compact, well-made machine. It's got a cog belt rather than a rubber belt that breaks when it jams. It's got a reset right down there. And, of course, it's bagged. There we go. The bag is right there. Well-made machine. I used these for years. I really like them. I have 2 or 3 of them. I definitely recommend them. They're not that expensive for a professional grade vacuum. They're less money than some of the other ones out there, and I think it's a better choice. Good suction. Or there's the king of vacuums right there. That's the Kirby. They have massive airflow. They are power driven, so it's very easy to vacuum with them all day long because it takes almost no effort to move it. There's no weight on the handle when you're using it because the handle is actually spring loaded. There's a power drive on the back. You can switch it into gear, and you just put a little bit of pressure on the handle. It'll pull itself forward. A little bit of pressure on the handle. It'll pull itself back. The height is adjustable like that. Made of metal. They're very durable, virtually break free. They just don't break very easily. The Brushroll is very easy to get at. To clean it out, which you will need to do occasionally, and pop that open and show you. There you go. Look at that. Easy to get at. As the Brushroll wears down, which they of course do, you can actually reposition the ends here. There's 3 settings to move the Brushroll closer as it wears down, and they're an excellent vacuum. They're very expensive new, out of reach really, but secondhand you can get them for just a $100, $200, and you got a vacuum that'll last you for years and impresses people because it is a high-end vacuum. It has a very large capacity bag in there, and when you put that latch right there, it'll holds the handle down. You can use that to do steps, and if you watch some of my videos, I've got a couple of videos where I show that being done. So that's the #1 vacuum to use, I would say. But it doesn't do edges. It doesn't have a hose. Now, it has a hose you can attach to it, but that's actually, and I was doing it that way for a little while, but the better way to go is to go and buy yourself one of these. This little stick vac. There's different brands, obviously. And again, if you buy the Dyson, you'll pay way more money. And if you buy the one with the battery, you'll pay more money too. So I bought the cheapest one, and I've been really, really impressed with this thing. It works very well to clean the filter. It just pops out, and you wash it out, put it back together. Easy machine, very fast for doing edges. You just let's go ahead and pop that off of there. Put your crevice tool on the end. Oops, I just dropped it. Crevice tool on the end. And you can do the edges very quickly and easily. It has a great little power head. Really nice power head on there. And I sometimes will use that on steps or maybe small areas or whatever. But it works very well. Very impressed with that. And that was only a couple $100. So it's not expensive to get into this business. But I recommend rotary. Get the brush, get the tank, obviously get the dry block, get yourself a selection of fiber pads, Ironman bonnets, maybe 2 ways as well, maybe even a few microfiber scrub strips when you're in business. Get yourself your vacuum. Either get the Pro Team or go buy a used Kirby. You can get a Navigator, or they have a couple of different models as well. Or one of these. Get your machine for your steps, pre-spray can, and you're in business, and that wouldn't cost you much to get in, and you'll be able to make money really quickly. I remember 25 years ago, I was $15 a room, and I really wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make any money at this, but I remember the first day that I made $200 before 11 o'clock, and it was like a light bulb moment. I was like, oh, I can actually make a living at this. $200 by 11 o'clock in the morning is pretty good. You think about it. You go and work all day in a typical, wage job. I mean, you don't make $200 an entire day. I mean, there's obviously costs involved in doing this, but you learn quickly to mind your P's and Q's when it comes to spending money. But you can earn pretty decent money doing this. You can learn a lot from watching my videos. That's why they're there. And don't make the mistakes that I've made. That's why I'm putting the videos up there, so you guys can watch and learn how to do this without making bad choices. And I'm hoping that I'm being a help to you guys in particular. And so my point is that the rotary is a great choice. You don't need to go that way or that way. A lot of guys that have gone with these Orbital machines are actually coming back, and I get a lot of people contacting me and talking to me about their experiences and telling me that, I used to use this Orbital or that Orbital, and going back to rotaries. After a while, as you get older, you get a little wiser, I think, hopefully. Anyway, there you go. That was my my thought for today. I figured I'd put up another video and give you guys some of my thoughts about this particular subject. So there you go, something to think about.